Hey, welcome to another Jim Hinckley's America adventure, where we share America's story and inspire road trips by telling people where to go. You know, Route 66 may not be our most historic or even our most scenic highway, but I don't think anyone can argue that it's the most famous highway in America. Since its inception, it's always had the best press and publicity, and it's well, nothing short of an amazing adventure. So I thought it would be a good time to share with you a little bit of a virtual Route 66 trip, if you will. This is Lou Mitchell's in Chicago. It's on an original alignment of Route 66, been there since the mid 1920s. And it's a favorite place for people making the Route 66 trip westbound, which is pretty much most of the folks kind of a traditional thing. Start the day off, start your adventure, start your road trip with breakfast at Lou Mitchell's. One of their traditions is that they provide all the female guests with a box of milk duds. Down the road a piece, we have Dwight, Illinois, the Ambler Texaco Station, now their visitor center, electric vehicle charging stations. Bicycling has become big on Route 66. So this is kind of a blurring of the past, the present, and, well, to a degree, the future. My suggestion, though, don't become myopic. Don't become so narrow-minded you can look down a beer bottle with both eyes. There's more to see than just what you find on Route 66. If you get to Dwight, Illinois, make sure that you go downtown. You won't be disappointed. It is the train depot. Uh, there's so many things. The Auten restaurant there. Lots to see downtown Dwight. Lots of fascinating historic buildings. There's even the old Keeler Institute with windows by Tiffany. You might want to take a look at that. Pontiac, Illinois has become the poster child for community revitalization using the popularity of Route 66. It's quite up. To say it's an amazing is an understatement. The historic courthouse pictured here, dating to the mid 19th century, is the centerpiece for the downtown. But they've had an extensive mural program. Right across the street from the courthouse, you'll find the Pontiac Oakland Museum, the largest collection of Pontiac and Oakland automobile memorabilia, advertising, promotional material, and a pretty fair display of automobiles. You'll also find the Society of Gilders. And just down the street, you find the War Museum. You'll find the Route 66 Museum with an extensive Bob Waldmeyer exhibit, including his famous bus and his Volkswagen bus that was the inspiration for Fillmore in the movie Cars. Pontiac is worth definitely a stop. Park, walk, you won't regret it. Route 66 is it's got an infectious enthusiasm and excitement. And the attractions, there's new and there's old. Now, Atlanta, Illinois, at first glance, if you look at it on a map or anything, there's not much to really brag about. Main Street's about 3 blocks long, but they got some neat stuff there. One of the last operational wooden grain silos. The Call Rooming House gives you a touch of boarding and lodging like it would have been in the eras of Route 66 around bracketing World War II. The Octagonal Library is a sight to see with a clock tower. Now they have the American Giants Museum. They also have things like the Route 66 Arcade Museum. You'll find video games and arcades and pinball machines almost a century old. It's a lot of fun. And of course, promotion. Blurring that line, giving the sense that Route 66 is no mere highway. It's a bit of time travel, if you will. And this exemplifies that. Some of the promotion for the little diminutive little town of Atlanta, Illinois. Another little town that's a lot of fun, Carlinville. Route 66 originally went along the square here in Carlinville. And Carlinville, almost the entire square, dates to the late 19th century, early 20th century. In the background there, you can see what is called the $1 Million Courthouse. To show you that nothing's really new under the sun, this is a monument to graft. The original bid on the courthouse was supposed to be somewhere around $50,000 back 1870s. By the time the cronies got done, they had pushed the cost of this up to over $1 million, and they ended up with a courthouse bigger than the one in New York City. It took the poor folks there in the county decades to pay for the courthouse. Interestingly enough, the courthouse is still in operation, well worth touring. Right across the square is the jail dating to the 1860s. Uh, they used steel floors, but in the walls of stone, they also put old cannonballs, making sure nobody's getting out. Another thing that people miss a lot there is Sears and Roebuck homes. You could order an entire home at one point from Sears and Roebuck. It came shipped on the train, and it was a complete kit, everything you needed to build your home. Well, Standard Oil was doing some mining there in Carlinville in the early part of the 20th century, and what became known as the Standard Edition. It's the largest collection of Sears and Roebuck kit homes in the country, still standing. Pontiac has done, or Illinois, excuse me, has done a tremendous job with Route 66. They have sold everything on the hog, including the squeal and signage. Relatively easy, but I want to tell you two things that'll make your trip more fun, more enjoyable, and easier. Get a copy of the Easy 66 Guide by Jerry McClanahan. It's interesting because that is a 1950s type throwback. Jerry's an accomplished and acclaimed artist, and his the book has hand-drawn maps, little notes and details and trivia, but it's a little binder book, and it's a lot of fun. But it's like something that would have been popular in the 1950s. And then you have Route 66 Navigation app, and the website is route66navigation.com. This app, created by Touch Media, Marian Pavel, has been a game changer, and he's constantly updating it and coming up with new innovations. But it will keep you on the road. It can be used as an offline tool. There's a tremendous point of interest file that's always being updated and expanded. It'll make your trip a lot of fun. The cost is really minimal for both our products. And speaking of points of interest, Litchfield, Illinois. The Ariston Cafe dates to the early 1920s. It was originally in Carlinville. With a realignment of Route 66, Mr. Adam moved the restaurant over to Litchfield, Illinois. And it was run by his son, Nick Adam, until just a few years ago. And right next door is Jubel's Bakery. They've been in the area for just about as long as the Ariston Cafe. The Ariston Cafe is a time capsule dating to the mid-1930s. Some of the furnishings, Nick Adam a few years ago showed me stickers on the bottom of the chairs where they were made in occupied Austria. That's when the restaurant was kind of updated and improved a little bit with new furnishings. That's the mid-1940s. And across the street, a tremendous Route 66 museum. You might even get a chance to meet Nick Adam. He's a regular there. He helped put that museum together and spends a little bit of time there. Pedestrian and bicycling, Route 66 has become very popular, and this has helped. This connects Missouri's trail net with a trail system in Illinois that's been made out of old alignments of Route 66 and rail beds and such. This is the unique Chain of Rocks Bridge with about a 22-degree bend in the middle. It's just north of St. Louis. This dates to the 1920s. And for a little bit of trivia, the bridge appeared before it was restored and cleaned up a little bit. It's in the movie Escape from New York. It's kind of a low-budget sci-fi movie with, I think it was Kurt Russell was in the movie. But now this is a pedestrian and hiking bridge. This is a real gem. This is something you got to see to believe, to experience. Connie Eccles has done just a marvelous job. The Wagon Wheel Motel in Cuba, Missouri. It's not only the oldest continuously operated motel on Route 66, dating to the 1930s, but it's been upgraded. One of the rooms has a sauna. It has all the things that you'd expect, but she's kept all of the original stuff, the leaded weights in the windows, the glass doorknobs, so you get that real feel. Of course, neon. Cuba itself is a lot of fun. Right next door to the Wagon Wheel Motel is Missouri Hick Barbecue. Just down the street, spit and a jump, is Shelley's, tremendous place for breakfast. And one block off Main Street downtown, you have Frisco's Grill and Maya Riviera Maya Mexican food. All great food. And of course, Cuba is known as the Mural City. Take some time to walk around downtown Cuba. You will not regret that one. And of course, this is Jim Hinckley's America. So we also talk about the quirky and the new Uranus Fudge Factory and General Store Circus Sideshow Museum. If you're a fan of juvenile humor, this is something you never outgrew, you got to stop at Uranus. If you're offended by juvenile humor, take a picture of this sign and drive. This exemplifies the magic, the infectious magic of Route 66, the Route 66 adventure. This is a modern attraction on the road created by Louis Keene from an old truck stop, but it is a throwback. This is what I remember as a kid, these kind of quirky attractions. The Circus Sideshow Museum is fascinating, and I'll leave it to your imagination, but anything you can imagine, juvenile, linked with Uranus fudge, he's got it. T-shirts, hats. By the way, the fudge is good. The candy is good. All the stuff that he has on the shelf, pickle lily and salsas, excellent. All excellent stuff. And there's a lot more there. Axe throwing, escape rooms, ice cream parlor. Gosh, anything you can imagine. Just like old times. And like I was talking about earlier, don't become myopic. Be adventuresome. And I know the schedule's tight. Look, you're not going to be able to see everything that there is to see on Route 66. People ask me how long it takes to see Route 66. Well, I tell them I've been doing it since 1959 and I haven't seen it all. So, here's another recommendation. When you get a room at the Wagon Wheel Motel, make it for 2 nights. And take a little bit of a detour. Take Highway 19 south, just a few short miles, to Steelville. Wonderful time capsule town. There you'll find Rich's famous burgers, tremendous food, great prices. And nearby is Merrimack Springs State Park. You've got to see that, preferably in the months of fall when the leaves are changing. This has been consistently for decades been voted one of the beauty spots in the state of Missouri, and it's not hype. It is amazing. Of course, ruins. Route 66 bypass. Route 66 evolved. The Route 66 of 1930 was not the Route 66 of 1960, 1980. This is John's Modern Cabins, or the ruins of John's Modern. It was originally a Bessie's Roadhouse. A little bit of a murder took place there. But this is a real throwback to, roadside lodging in the 30s, the 40s, and even the early 50s. Quite a little spot. If you do this in the spring or summer, watch out for poison oak and poison ivy. Ooh, it's thick there in them woods. This is on an old alignment of Route 66 near Springfield, Missouri. This is Spencer. Great little place. It has been taken over now by Ed Klein of the Route 66 World Facebook page. It's never amounted much more to a wide spot in the road, but he's creating a living and time capsule there to give you the feel. The concrete Route 66 out front. If you walk that, you'll find spots with little fingerprints or handprints. That was hand-laid concrete out by Spencer. And if you notice, at the far end of the picture, there's a nice 1920 steel truss bridge down the road. The courthouse in Carthage, Missouri. This is one of the most photographed locations in the state of Missouri, next to the Arch in St. Louis. It's beautiful. And all the way around the courthouse are these war memorials, the Civil War, the Osage murals, wars, all these different things. But the entire square is filled with late 19th century, early 20th century buildings that now house coffee shops and little restaurants. And nearby, just a block or so away, is the famous Boots Court Motel. A lot of fun there, too. This is Galena, Kansas. As you can see, it's a blending of new and old and ruins and things happening. Um, Galena's interesting. Renee Charles and Melba, her sister, have done such a tremendous, poured themselves into creating an awakening, if you will, in Galena. The town is just a shadow of what it once was, but a lot of things happened in Galena. It was a big mining, the whole area, as a matter of fact, um, southeastern Kansas, northeastern Oklahoma, and southwest Missouri was once one of the largest lead mining districts in the world in the years bracketing World War One, and these were mining boom towns, and they're a shadow of what they were. My pa always said, better to fill your head with useless knowledge than no knowledge at all. Well, Harry Houdini got his start kind of here. He came in and would do seances at the theater. What he would do is go spend time reading the obituaries and wandering the cemetery and memorize things and put on quite a show, from what I understand. Galena has had an awakening, that's for sure, with their heritage. A fun little town. A lot of fun there. This was once a regional chain, and the last one is in Miami, Oklahoma. A lot of fun, neat little place. Had to try it when I went there. I had to try the Buffalo Burger. Suggest that. Good. And if you show up at night, well, you get a chance to photograph some great neon. This is an interesting juxtaposition as well. Arcadia, Oklahoma. The round barn was almost in ruins, dating to the 1890s, and some dedicated, passionate local volunteers renovated this. It's now a visitor center and an event center. And almost directly across the road is Pops. Pops is a manifestation of the modern era on Route 66. About 500 different kinds of soda pop. It's a blending of the 1950s malt shop and something you would see in the Jetsons. It's got a 66-foot tall LED lit soda pop bottle, complete with straw, sitting along the highway. The bridges on Route 66 are very endangered, and they give the highway a truly unique time capsule feel. A lot of them are being replaced, taken down. This one, I'm proud to say, the Pony Trust Bridge there on the Canadian River in Oklahoma. The state of Oklahoma has dismantled the bridge. They're building kind of a new bridge. They're going to put the trusses back. That is such good news, especially in time for the Route 66 Centennial thing, get it done. Another reason to just get off the road, eccentricity and quirkiness. Here is a true monument to eccentricity. Ed Galloway's Totem Pole Park near Foyle, Oklahoma, on Route 66. He created all these whimsical structures out of concrete, totem poles and frogs and picnic tables, and he was also quite a wood carver. And the museum there is very informative, very interesting. Great place. Pack yourself a picnic lunch. I always travel, my dearest friend and I, we always travel with a picnic basket. And places like this, well, adds a little bit of fun. This is the National Route 66 Museum in Elk City, Oklahoma. Lot of fun, lot of fun here. They've got interactive exhibits, great bookstore. But what makes this museum really special is not only is it the National Route 66 Museum, but it's a farm and ranch museum as well. And upstairs next door they have a rodeo museum. The farm and ranch museum often has exhibits like a blacksmith's working, things of that nature. It's a great family stop. And this again, this is the type of places that make Route 66 special. But I got to tell you ahead of time. Right now I'm showing you places. But what really makes a Route 66 trip, what makes Route 66 different from US 6, which is a fascinating highway, or US 12 or US 50, is the people. The people who live and work on the road, the passionate volunteers who restore things, and the incredible diversity of the travelers. Route 66 is a linear community. It's America's longest small town. And the people on the road that travel the road, the people that work on the road, it literally becomes like family. Um, this is Tex Ola, a ghost town on the Texas-Oklahoma line. An interesting history. There's been several occasions when the people that lived here never moved, and they were residents of Texas or they were residents of Oklahoma, depending on which survey got done at the time. Aside from the Tumbleweed Grill, Texola is pretty much a ghost town now. Tumbleweed Grill, Maisel Zimmerman does a great job. Great pie and coffee, by the way. This is the classic U Drop in Shamrock, Texas. Now they put the lunch counter back inside. It's their visitor center. Electric vehicle charging station is here. Right across the street is the Western Motel. The Patel family has done a great job. That's my go-to place when I travel. I stay in Shamrock. Here's the bonus. Pull up a lawn chair about sunset. Watch the neon come on at the U Drop In. It's a sight to behold. McLean, Texas. Used to have a brassiere factory there, and hence the unofficial title, the Uplift Capital of America. Well, they have the oldest Phillips 66 station in Texas. That's here. It's been restored by the Texas Route 66 Association as a photo stop. Do not laugh. It's actually interesting. In the old brassiere factory is a barbed wire museum. It's also their Route 66, State of Texas Route 66 museum. The most incredible thing about a barbed wire museum, it was fascinating. It was interesting. McLean, Texas, by the way, it's really faded down. It's around 800 people. But you got some great things there. The Cactus Inn Motel and RV Park. Angela Moreland has done a tremendous job bringing that 1950s little gem back to life. Next door is the Red River Steakhouse, another great place. Downtown, some pretty interesting places as well. McLean, Texas. There's a little gem, Amarillo, Texas. A lot of people, this is kind of ironic because we talk about detours and side trips. Two of the biggest Route 66 attractions in Amarillo, the Big Texan Steakhouse and the Cadillac Ranch, neither one of them are on Route 66. A lot of people mess the 6th Street corridor, 6th Avenue corridor downtown, the old San Jacinto district, Texas, Ivy, down there with Dora Maroney. That's where it's at. You find great things like the Golden Light Cafe. Been there since 1946, a little bit of a roadhouse. I love the green chili stew. Oh boy. Buffalo stew, I might add, with green chilies. Yes, beautiful Santa Fe building dating back quite a while. And we're halfway. This is the Midpoint Cafe across from Midpoint Park in Adrian, Texas. It's kind of stretching the point. Is it the exact midpoint? No, but it's pretty darn close. Of course, it depends on which alignment you follow. You know, the Route 66 was realigned lots of times. In New Mexico, for example, originally it made a big loop from Santa Rosa up to Santa Fe and then down to Albuquerque. In about 1937, that loop was cut off. This is all gone now, I'm sorry to say, but this was Glen Rio, Texas. This just recently was all taken down and changed. Glen Rio is an example of what was in the movie Cars, where the bypass killed this place. Within a year, almost all the businesses were gone after the highway was bypassed in the early 1980s. Interesting old town. It's right on the border, Texas, New Mexico. There was a cafe on the Texas side and it had a big sign. And on one side it said First Cafe in Texas, and the other side, Last Cafe Motel in Texas. And Deaf Smith County in Texas was dry, so all the liquor establishments, bars and whatnot, were on the New Mexico side of town. Kind of interesting. Old Route 66 here is a 4-lane. And I don't know if they fixed it yet. It washed out this last summer. But the original alignment runs into San Juan. It's a graded gravel road. Goes through the ghost town of ND, New Mexico. And ND was named, the town is ENDEE, but it was named for the ND Ranch. One of the fun things on Route 66 is this blurring of the past and the present. Sometimes it's kind of almost surreal. You know, you look at this picture and you wonder, well, what year is it? Well, I took this picture in 2022, at the beautifully restored 1959 Safari Motel in Tucumcari, New Mexico. Larry Smith has done, he's an incredible host. You need some great lodging, fun, clean, reasonably priced. Try the Motel Safari. My favorite, though, I got to tell you, I'm kind of partial. David Brenner's Roadrunner Lodge. He has done a complete immersion into a mid 1960s upscale motel, but with the modern amenities. You got to experience the Roadrunner Lodge. Another little gem there in Tucumcari is TP Curios. Started out as a gas station complex and evolved long, long ago into a curio shop. The neon was severely damaged during a hailstorm, but the New Mexico Association, Main Street Tucumcari, and other organizations have done some fundraising, and they're working diligently to get all their neon back on. It's hard to stay on just Route 66 because it was truncated and cut off by the highway. But when you get into find the old alignments, you find little towns like Cuervo and Quibero and other places, just true ghost towns that have fascinating histories, great photo ops. San Fidel. Here's one. This is in Gallup, New Mexico. This is a lot of fun. There's some great restaurants in Gallup, but this is one of my favorite. Earl's. Been there since 1947. Something that I always get amazed at. It's a throwback to when I was a child traveling Route 66. The Native American artisans in good weather, Navajo and Hopi, will be out front selling their wares, Kachina dolls, jewelry, things of that nature, their rugs. And on the inside, you can ask for a vendor-free table. And if you don't, the Native Americans are allowed to come up to the table. The food is excellent. Another restaurant there that I can highly recommend is Angela's Cafe in the old Harvey House. Mostly, I think they close at 2 in the afternoon. It's mostly a lunch stop. But Angela's a great host. The food is excellent. The price is right. There's a wonderful museum upstairs, the Harvey House. This is at Lupton, Arizona. This is in the New Mexico side of the border. Cave of the Seven Devils was the original trading post that was here. And there's more to that story. It was a fellow named Indian Harry Miller. He had a trading post in the 1920s over in Two Gun, Arizona, but ended up shooting Earl Cundriff out there. Got a whole mess of a story, and he relocated over here and opened this one, Cave of the Seven Devils, and they built a big fake cliff dwellings in here for a movie with Kirk Douglas in the 1950s of the country. There's just no other way to put it. We missed the Chevron Canyon trading post. There is something that really expansive to see. It is was built in 1913 as the first highway bridge in Arizona. It was on the National Trails Road. It's not on Route 66. It's a graded gravel road, territorial road, and Laws Road between Holbrook and Winslow. If you get a chance, check that out over Chevron Canyon. Gorgeous. Earl's Motor Court. Angela and Bloss have done a tremendous job of taking this 1953 motel and giving a real time capsule feel, and they take tremendous pride in what they have here. The La Posada. Oh, what can be said about this one? This is a monument to perseverance in the preservation movement. Alan F.L. did a wonderful job. This was a crown jewel in the Fred Harvey Enterprise hotel chain. And the late 1950s, the hotel, everything closed. The railroad gutted the building, turned it into their offices in Winslow. And then late 80s, early 90s, they started relocating operations. And, well, they were going to tear the thing down. And it is a true gem. Alan Affelt and his wife Tina have done remarkable with this building. The restaurant is superb. I'm not a fan of graffiti at all, period. But every once in a while, sometimes in the middle of absolutely nowhere, you'll find artistry. This is on the old water tanks for the steam locomotives. at the Pica siding. This is about a quarter mile off Route 66, 10 miles west of Seligman, Arizona. What an artist! Little time capsules. That's a great little place here. Cool Springs. One-eyed blind man's not going to take a bad picture at Cool Springs. Uh, it just these landscapes are stunning. Cool Springs has quite a history. It was built in about 1925 initially as a service station by Roy N.R. Dutton. He had a garage in Oatman or Gold Road, Arizona, and offered towing services over Sitgreaves Pass because of the steep, steep grades. Jack Rittenhouse, in his classic book, A Guide to Highway 66, noted that towing service. Well, during the 1930s, Cool Springs evolved to be quite a roadside attraction, restaurant, cabins, things of that nature. The highway bypassed 1952. Place fell on hard times, but somehow soldiered on. A fire about 1965 burned the ground. You can see in the picture the white column of stone. The white columns were pretty much all that was left. For the movie Universal Soldier, they rebuilt Cool Springs and then blew it up. And then a Chicago developer named Ned Luchner bought the property, cleaned it up, and recreated Cool Springs. A lot of fun, a lot of fun. Uh, Roy's out in Amboy, California. This is the Mojave Desert, pure and simple. You can see the Amboy crater there. Great hiking trail. Highly recommend it. Pretty easy. You can go all the way up on top or inside the crater. Do not do it in the summer. Let people know where you're going and carry water. I've had some people die out there, my friends. There's talk of getting the motel open again. Don't know when it's going to happen, but the sign has been restored. Quite a sight to see. Cafe is still closed, but they have a little snack shop, souvenir shop, and you can buy gas. And just like since the era of the National Old Trails Road, gas is expensive. Route 66 is time capsules. Lots and lots of time capsules. And Daggett, California is another ghost town. I don't know the population, but it's a shadow of what it once was. Nearby is the 1870s Stone Hotel, closed for decades. But this little place here is a full service market. And it's been open, the desert market, since about 1909. And you'll find things. I mentioned the bridges, how important they are. Can you imagine driving Route 66 if this bridge had been replaced by something modern? This is on the Mojave River near Victorville, Arizona. And if you notice, even the guardrails from the early 30s are intact. Two Wigwam motels on Route 66, one in Holbrook, Arizona, and this one in Rialto. This one's been lovingly restored and a lot of fun. Quirky. It's odd when you go to shave in the morning and the mirror is at an angle. A lot of fun though. But again, this is nice. This is what it is. Usually there's snow-capped mountains in the background. Another great bridge. This one predates Route 66 by more than a dozen years. This is on Colorado Boulevard in Pasadena, California. And this bridge appeared in a Charlie Chaplin movie, The Kid, and been retrofitted for earthquakes. It was a civil engineering marvel when it was completed. You know, a lot of people, and I'm going to be the first to admit it, I have trouble in any town with more than three stoplights. Uh, I just really have trouble. So you can imagine how well I do in places like Los Angeles. But thanks to Scott Piotrowski, he got me kind of working around these things. Example, downtown LA, the old theater district. Yes, you've got homeless. Yes, you've got traffic all the time, but you can work around it. If you go downtown early Sunday morning, traffic is light, and the parking lots are mostly open. The historic theater district, this is the Grand Central Market. It opened in 1917, massive food court, anything and everything you can possibly imagine, plus a collection of neon spanning close to 100 years. Well worth a stop. Uh, this is down on Broadway. Right behind this is the Angels little inclined railway. This is in a part of the theater district. In the teens and the 20s and into the 30s, this was a largest theater district in the United States, bigger than Times Square. Slowly, this is being gentrified, and these theaters are coming back to life. Absolutely astounding facades and marquees. You got to see it to believe it. Santa Monica Pier. This is not the end of Route 66. Route 66 actually ends several blocks away at Olympic and Lincoln, and Mel's Diner there is at the end. But who's going to drive all the way across the country then or now and stop 2 blocks from the ocean? This is fun. They've got an amusement park and everything there, and all the way out on the pier, Manny Mendelsohn has a little bait shop. He doesn't promote much, a little gift shop. He was a good friend of eclectic folk artist Bob Waldmeyer. And there's an exhibit, Bob Waldmeyer exhibit, last stop shop, way out on the end of the pier. Hey, I hope you enjoyed this kind of a virtual trip down Route 66. Consider it a teaser. A Route 66 adventure is not like anything you're going to experience anywhere else. And now with the centennial coming up, I expect it's going to get more amazing than ever. And my suggestion, if this piqued your interest, contact me through Jim Hinckley's America. Check out our website for some travel tips, some of our books. But take a Route 66 trip, all or part. If you don't have 2 or 3 weeks to drive the whole road, find where it's closest to you and spend a day or two on Route 66. I guarantee you won't regret it. It'll change your perception and opinions. You'll find out that this is a pretty amazing country, and we're not as divided as we may seem. My friends, thank you. Stay tuned. We'll have another adventure from Jim Hinckley's America soon.